Welcome to Soul Study, the podcast where we explore personal growth, spirituality, and the deeper questions of what it means to consciously create a life we love. Think of this as your weekly book club for the soul. Each episode will study powerful ideas from transformative books, reflect how they apply to real life, and gently challenge ourselves to grow together. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. It's about remembering that you are energy, you are powerful, and you are always in a state of creation. Here, we take what resonates and leave the rest. So take a breath, open your heart, and get ready to become your most magnetic self. Let's begin today's Soul Study. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul Study, the podcast to help you become your happiest, healthiest, most magnetic self. Last week, we talked about where our attention goes, energy flows, rephrasing our thoughts from what we don't want to what we do want to attract into our lives. And also, we started the conversation about placing our order with the universe and thinking of what it is we truly want to call into our lives through the law of attraction. Also, our soul study challenge last week was moonlight magic. So that was to look at the moon each night and ask ourselves, what did my soul need today, and see what answers come. So for the soul study moonlight magic, I only really remembered to do it maybe 2 to 3 times this week. I was not super proactive about it this week, unfortunately, but I do tend to talk to the moon just like a lot, just on my own. So I did do it a couple of times, and it was really nice just to take a second at the end of the day, take a breath, and look up at the moon and just kind of see what answers were coming to me. So if you were able to do that more than 3 times a week, or maybe you only did it once or twice, let me know in the comments how that went for you as well. So today we are covering chapters 7 and 8, which is a pretty big chunk of the book, but mostly because it's like a workbook section of the book. So we're going to be figuring out today what it is we want to call into our lives and what does our soul really desire. So let's dive right in to our first quote of the day. That will be on page 41. On page 41, in the first paragraph, it says, "When you are living your life on purpose, you will find greater fulfillment and joy in all that you do." So what does living life on purpose mean? A lot of people tend to just let their life float by them, thinking that they have no control over what's going on. When you tend to live your life on purpose, that's allowing you to navigate to a outcome you desire to have inside of your life. People tend to also worry about finding what their purpose is in the world, but that's a lot of pressure. And honestly, I don't even know exactly what my purpose is yet either. But I feel like when you start to live your life on purpose, you start navigating your life to see more and more of what brings you joy. And in that turn, I feel like you are living your purpose by living what makes you feel the most joy. So living life on purpose is being intentional with what you do. It's making a conscious choice and effort to do things in your life rather than let them float by or let things happen to you. Again, you're not letting life happen to you, but you're making life happen. You are out there finding what makes you happy, fulfilling your desires, taking your life head on, which is you living your life on purpose. So doing this, living your life on purpose, you will find the things that light you up. And that is an indicator of what your purpose on this earth is. Following the path that lights you up brings you the greatest joy and excitement that is guiding you more and more towards your purpose in life. And this can be big or small things. It doesn't always have to be, I need to make tons of money and start all these nonprofits and make a huge change in the world, where it could be that. But also your purpose in life could also be just going to work every day and making one person smile. One person you interact with smile. That could also be your purpose. Just being yourself could be your whole purpose for being here on earth. And once you start living life on purpose, you're going to find more and more of those moments of you living out your light. I find that I can easily step into a state of depression and tiredness when I'm repeating the same things daily without intention. If I am, for instance, just going to work, doing my job, coming home, eating, going to bed. If I find myself on that loop and I'm not putting intention into it, I find myself getting way more depressed and way more tired. That's just kind of how it is. Instead, I could do the exact same things, but if I'm finding intention, if I'm finding myself starting to do things more on purpose, like going to work with the purpose of working and going to work with a purpose of maybe making someone smile. That's way more intentional than just going to work and letting it float by and getting things done. That's somewhere that I've seen myself live my life on purpose. I also find that I have more excitement and more energy when I put intention into the things that I am doing, even if it is boring. Sometimes I am just stationed to sit somewhere and just be a human somewhere, and there's nothing happening. And when there's nothing happening around, I could just be bored out of my mind and go on my phone. Or if I'm being more intentional, I'll actually start to call in energy that I want to feel, what excites me. I'll start daydreaming about things that are exciting, and it puts me into a way more awake and excited state. Now, when I'm tired, I usually tend to start scrolling. It's a habit. I know I'm not the only one that has it. I know a lot of us, when we are tired, we sit down and start scrolling. But I find that if I'm tired, if I scroll or watch something that's a little more mind numbing, I get more tired and I do not feel fulfilled and I actually feel a little depressed. But if instead, when I'm tired and I do something like, for instance, make the podcast, like today, I was really tired, but I was like, I should make a podcast. I need to get it done before Sunday. Let's sit down and make a podcast. Or if I'm like, I'm going to stretch. I'm just going to sit down, put on some calm music and stretch. And I can do it as short as I want or as long as I want. I find that if I do something like that when I'm tired, something that is more intentional, I find that it actually gives me energy and doesn't make me more tired. Whereas the brain numbing always makes me more tired and a little bit more depressed. So that's something else I do in my life to show up and live my life on purpose. That's another thing. So sometimes if I'm tired and I'm like, I do not want to leave the house today. But if my friends are out having a really good time somewhere and they're like, hey, we want to talk to you. Come on out. We want to see you. Even though initially I don't want to, once I'm there and I'm talking with my friends, I'm so much more excited. I feel so much more lit up in my life. And sometimes it's just getting myself there, getting myself out of that tiredness, out of that state of depression and moving myself towards something where I know I'm going to be acting more intentionally. That gives me so much more excitement and joy for life. So those are just some examples of things that I do in my life. So finding out what your purpose is in life, living your life on purpose in order to find your purpose. What does that look like? There is something, and we're going to be, going over the workbook that's in this book now to help you kind of see maybe what is your soul aligning with? What does your soul want you to be doing? Something that I learned in college is a Japanese concept called ikigai. And what your ikigai is, it's a combination of finding out what it is that you love to do, what it is you can get paid for, and what is it that the world needs. And so if you think about it like a Venn diagram with two circles on the side, one circle on the bottom, and kind of seeing the different categories, you're trying to find the one that's in the middle that combines what you love, what you can get paid for, and what the world needs. And that's one area of where you can find your purpose. Now, getting more into your purpose, some of these questions that are in chapter 7 are going to help you see, what does your soul actually desire? Where should you be putting your effort? And what is it that you want to be calling into your life? So some tips of what you can do is, number 1, just do the journal prompts in the book. They're really helpful. And especially the first one here that says, write down the times I have felt the most alive and joyful. That one's brilliant. That is such a good journal question to find out what it is that you actually find fulfillment in. Now sit down, and when you do these journal prompts, really spend some time thinking about these. Thinking back to, when did you feel the most alive and joyful? What are your natural gifts? What do you love to do? Where do you feel the most alive? Actually sit down and take some time to answer these questions. And just to show you guys on the video podcast where they start, the journal questions or the journal prompts in the book, the workbook, starts on page 43. It looks like this. It has little questions at the top. And then it continues all the way to page 49 for that first section of the workbook. Or actually 50 for that first section of the workbook. After you finish that, that'll move us on to quote number 2, which is on page 51. So right after you finished doing that first section of the workbook, which you should be having more of an idea of what lights you up and what you feel like gives you purpose in life. So quote number 2 is on page 51. It's in about the middle of right before the middle of the page. And it says, Be willing to let go and let God. This is a quote that I love. I live my life by this all the time because I am a high anxiety human. So if you are also a high anxiety human, something that is for us to learn is how to surrender and how to let go, because we want to have control. We want to know what's happening. We're so worried about the future and the present that we are not just being. And that is something I've had to learn and continue to learn how to do, because I'm not going to lie. Actually, today I've been feeling very anxious and there's been a lot of things that were not in my control. And so I had to just take 30 minutes to myself before sitting down to do this podcast, get myself a little snack, a little drink, and just be outside in nature for 30 minutes and just breathe and let go, because I know God's going to handle it. That's where it is. I have no control anymore. I've done my part in my situation, and now I know there is no longer room for me to be anxious because I have done what I can. I feel like that's the reason that this quote hits so hard, is that we are supposed to just let go and let God. And now that you know what the things are that bring you fulfillment and joy and what you want to start attracting into your life, the next step, even if it's the hardest step, is to just let it be. Just to let go and just take the next best step. If there's no step in front of you for you to do right now, you let go and wait until another step comes along and you can take that one. Just take the next best step. You don't have to know the 45 steps you need to take to get to the goal. All you need to know is the one next best step. That's it. That's surrender. So surrendering to what the universe has planned is the most important step. Just like what we talked about last week, the universe has its own way. God has its own way of doing things. Then the way we do it is not the way that the universe is going to do it. So we need to surrender and make room for the universe to just work. And what that also looks like is stepping through the doors of opportunity that the universe has provided, even if it doesn't make sense. Even if it doesn't make sense. Stepping through those doors, especially if you are living and acting in ways that align with your highest self, will allow the law of attraction to work and bring you what you need, even if it doesn't make sense. What do I mean by even if it doesn't make sense? So just a brief example, going to a party maybe you really don't want to go to because you feel tired, but it's for one of your best friends and it would be in alignment with your higher self to be a more loving and caring person to go out to that party and support your friend. So even though you're a little bit tired, you go out and you actually have an amazing time, and say you meet someone there that is going to help you with your next art project or something that really means a lot to you. Someone is there that you've never met before that is going to help further you to the next step of something. You didn't think it was in your plan for your project or whatever it is you want to achieve. You weren't even thinking that something like that would happen at the party, but because you went to the party, because you were living with aligned action on what you should be, what you want to be, or you're living as who you want to be, you got there and the universe put puzzle pieces together. Just to share with you guys an example of what it looks like when there is a path that you really want, but it doesn't seem like it's in alignment at all, or like it doesn't make any sense to you, but you trust your gut and you go with it. And it turns out actually that was part of the plan. For me, that was moving to Las Vegas. That was one of the biggest, I don't know about this moments, and was not part of the plan at all. It was very last minute to move to Vegas. I think I made the decision within 4 months and I was like, okay, yeah, we're moving to Vegas. Never on my plan for life, and this is what I want to be doing, was Vegas in that plan. The door of opportunity just opened randomly and I decided to step through. And now that I'm here in Vegas, even though it didn't make any sense whatsoever at the time for me to be here in my brain, I completely understand why the universe has put me here, because it is the best place for me to be in order for my dreams to come true. And I'm now actually starting to see that happen. So even though it didn't make any sense at first, hindsight, it makes a lot of sense. And some things that the universe gives you might feel like that too. You might be like, I don't know why I'm doing this. It just feels aligned and I'm walking through the door of opportunity, even though I do not think it's going to help at all with my goals. You might be surprised because the universe works in mysterious ways. So that's one example of when I trusted the universe, even though it didn't make sense. And turns out it was part of the plan. So what this might look like for you is like, maybe you're going to maybe you have to take on a terrible job that you don't want to do, but being there, you make the connections to actually get you out of the job and going somewhere else. Or maybe that means like meeting someone to help you with a dream or a passion project through you going and volunteering somewhere that your heart desired to. There's so many different ways. As long as you're following the next best step, you're following the open doorways and opportunities that the universe is providing, even if it doesn't make sense, it can help you achieve the goals and desires that you are looking to do. Now, how can you start doing this in your everyday life? Look at the doors that open in front of you and actually walk through them, even if they don't make any sense at all. Like doing an odd job here or there that like feels like, oh yeah, I can do this. And it seems like, cool, but it doesn't seem necessarily aligned. But going through it maybe will align the rest of everything for you. So just looking at opportunities, following your intuition, and really letting yourself be open to what the universe has to offer. That's one way that you can do this. Practical tip number 2 to start doing this is breathe and practice letting go of thinking about how things are going to work out. You don't need to know the how. Remember, we let go and let God. It is not up to us to figure out every single step of the way to our desires. That's not for us. We just want to feel in vibration with that desire, be excited about that desire, and have no anxiety about that desire coming your way. Moving on to quote number 3. Again, I actually went out into the sun and got a lot of sun, so I'm feeling kind of like sun sleepy right now. So sorry if I sound a little bit far off and a little sleepy as well, because I get sun tired really quickly. I was only out in the sun for I set a 30-minute timer, but I was only out in the sun for maybe 10 minutes, and then I had to come back inside and do the rest of my 30 minutes of self-care inside because the sun was just too intense for me. I am very pale and, I get burned very easily, even though I did put on sunscreen. But so sorry if I sound a little tired today, guys. Quote number 3 is going to be on page 53, odds in chapter 8. And that is going to be, your dreams and desires are not subject to anyone else's approval. They are yours and yours alone, but you have to define them in order to achieve them. I love this quote because as a recovering people pleaser, I am still getting used to the fact that my dreams and desires are for me and I don't need approval from anybody else. Because, again, remember, your dreams and desires are for you, not for someone else. So if there's something you really want to do, but you're scared to do it because someone else doesn't approve of it, or someone else you feel like is going to judge you for it, but it really lights you up. Of course, this is as long as you're not hurting yourself or someone else. If it really lights you up, go out and do it, because you're not living your life for you at this point. You're living your life for someone else, and your life is not meant to be lived for someone else. Your life is meant to be lived for you. Your life is meant to be lived for you. This brings me to a quote that one of my bosses, I was her personal assistant for a hot second, said to me. She told me a story where she was being herself and someone asked her if she could tone it down. And she said that she responded back to this person. I love this woman. She is amazing. She responded back to this person who asked her to tone it down. She said, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I will not dim my light for your convenience." Props to her. Little claps, snap claps for her. Don't dim your light for someone else's convenience. This also goes on to not giving up on your dreams because someone tells you they're impossible. Usually what happens is the someone that's telling you that it's impossible hasn't even accomplished your dream, hasn't even done anything close to your dream. So I don't listen to people giving me advice about not doing something that my heart desires if they haven't done it themselves. That's just where it is. Because if they haven't done what you're wanting to do themselves, why would they say no? That's the thing. Why would you listen to them because they haven't done the thing you want them to do or you want to do? It's kind of like you wanting to be a gardener and then someone being an electrician says, you can't be a gardener. And it's like, but you're not even trying to be a gardener. How do you know that I can't be a gardener? You're an electrician. You're not a gardener. But usually then the person who's a gardener is like, oh yeah, you can be a gardener. Here, this is how you be a gardener. So why are you listening to the electrician about being a gardener when you could be listening to a gardener about being a gardener? That word sounds weird now. I've said it so many times. So that's kind of what that means. Now, with this, because the person knew that they wanted to be a gardener, you have to first know what your dreams and desires are. So think about what they are and how your life would look if you were living in that state of your dreams and desires. And this can't just be like, I want a lot of money. You have to define like what the dream is. Like, why do you want a lot of money? Like, what's gonna help you make the money? What are you gonna do with the money? Like, if your dream and desire is to not have to worry about money, so then having a lot of money, so you're knowing the why is to have less anxiety in your life. Now you also have to know how, like, define how you would like to get the money from. Like, how would you like it to be flowing to you? What would you use it on to make your life more in alignment with your dreams? So you can't just be basic of, I want a lot of money, I want a boat. You have to be very specific and define what your dreams are. And remember, someone told me this and it really changed my perspective on following my dreams. Just like how your dreams are for you and for nobody else, your dreams are also there for a reason. It's actually selfish to keep your gifts and dreams to yourself. So if you decide to follow your dreams, what you're doing is you're probably creating something, a life, a state of being that is going to inspire others. So keeping your gifts to yourself is selfish because you're not able to share them with the world. Sharing your dreams with the world, the universe has a way of using that to inspire other people, to inspire other things being done. Even if it's not something big like creating a multi-million-dollar nonprofit organization to help homeless people. Like, if that does not have to be your dream in order to make change in the world. Maybe your dream is to be an artist. Maybe your dream is to paint and you just want to paint paintings and you're not worried about selling them, but maybe you paint a painting and someone asks if you could, at like a First Friday art fair, come and have a booth and just show off your paintings. You don't even have to sell them, but just show them off. And you go and do that, and maybe you don't even sell one painting. But maybe someone that didn't even stop to say hi or talk to you walked past your booth. They saw your painting, and that inspired them to follow their dreams as well. So you acting upon your dream is going to inspire other people to act onto theirs. Even if it's not something super showy, even if it's just living your life to your fullest, that's going to inspire other people to do that too. So keeping those dreams and desires, not following those dreams and desires is actually selfish, which is kind of crazy to think about. I guess in that sense, you kind of are doing it for someone else, but you're mostly doing it for you. And that's what makes it being done for someone else, because people love it when you are being authentically yourself, because it lets them be inspired to be authentically themselves. So I call this like the butterfly effect of inspiration. The butterfly effect of inspiration. It's like you just being yourself and following your dreams is going to inspire someone else to be themselves and follow their dreams, which is going to inspire someone else to be themselves and follow their dreams. So it's the butterfly effect of inspiration. Now, these dreams should ignite passion within you. So if you're like, my dream is to be famous. If your dream is to be famous and it like sounds really exciting and fun, but it's not like igniting like a passion in you, like a burning passion and love within you, then maybe that's not what you're desiring. Maybe what actually strikes that passion and ignite that movement and motivation inside of you is hanging out with dogs and helping dogs. Like maybe you kind of want to be famous, but maybe you just really feel motivated to go and help dogs. Then that's where you're supposed to be going. Like that's what ignited your passion, ignited your motivation. So first, figure out what that is. And if it sparks fear at first, know that that's also okay. Sometimes fear, especially when it's fear around something that we're excited, like we're passionate about, that fear is usually coming from a place of care. It's because you really, really care about it and you want to do well and you don't want to fail. And so getting to know that sometimes those fears are there, not because they want to stop you, but because it actually shows you genuinely care about it. And get to know why your fears are there. Try actually asking yourself questions like, what is this fear protecting me of? What am I scared is going to happen? And like, why should I let that fear, like, what's the pros and cons of letting myself not do the thing I'm excited about? Actually look at those if you feel like fear is stopping you. That's something that I've had to do a lot. I have had a lot of fear. And so for me, sitting down and actually asking myself, what am I afraid of and why am I afraid of it, has really helped me follow my dreams. Now, some personal stories on how I have been not caring what other people say and not following the path that other people want me to do. There have been a lot of different things in my life that I've done that people who have not done it have told me you shouldn't do that. And if I listened to them, my life would be not great. I think I would actually not like my life, unfortunately. So good thing I decided to listen to my desires. So the first thing, and you guys will probably already know this one, people told me that I was not going to move to Vegas. I told some people, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Vegas. Like, I think I'm going to move to Vegas. And I had one person even straight up tell me, oh, you're not going to move to Vegas. Like, that's not for you. Like, you're not going to move to Vegas. I love it when people tell me I'm not going to do something because, like, low key, I'm going to do it even more now because you told me I wasn't going to. I love when people say that I'm never going to accomplish something because that motivation right there, even if it is just like, hey, I'm going to prove you wrong. The part of my rage motivation, I would say, is, yeah, if you tell me I can't, I can. I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure out how to do it. Now, people were telling me not to pursue dancing as a career, even though they were not dancers and have never even tried to be dancers as a career. And then the people who have been dancers and performers and have done that as a career tell me, every single one of them is like, yeah, do it. So am I going to listen to the people that have not done it and say no, or the people that have done it and say yes? Think about that. Now, this has not only happened to me. This has happened to my boyfriend as well, Riley. He is a music producer and a DJ and a phenomenal music producer, mind you. That man, I do not know how he does it. It is crazy. But he has talked to people that aren't even musicians or in the music industry and they have told him like, hey, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, you can't be a musician or a music producer or a DJ because of this, and this. And they themselves are not music producers or musicians or DJs. So, and we talk about this all the time. I'm like, oh, are you going to listen to them? Like, are you going to listen to them who have not done it and are telling you no? Or are you going to listen to all the interviews of all these other music producers and even some of your music producer friends that have done stuff and they've told you, hey, you're good. You can do this. Are you going to listen to the people that are telling you no, that have never done it? Or are you going to listen to the people that are telling you yes, who have? So really consider, whose advice are you taking and why are you listening to them? Especially when it comes to following your dreams and desires. If I wanted to continue to people please, if I wanted everybody's approval, I would not be here doing this podcast. I would not be dancing. I would not be in Vegas, and I would not be dating my boyfriend. If I wanted everybody else's approval, I would not be living the life that I'm living right now. So maybe think about that when you're thinking about your dreams and desires. Are you defining them? Are you worried about what other people are going to think? Or are you authentically going with what your gut says is best? Think about that. Some tips on how to help you do this, how to help get you out of the people-pleasy, wanting everybody's approval is, first of all, write down what you would want to do if no one in your life told you no. What would you do if no one in your life told you no? And then think about this as you work on the next section of the book. That's the other tip. Think about that as you work on answering these next workbook questions in the book. And the next workbook section is actually, let me just talk about it really quick. It's actually really cool because it has you go through like your personal goals, your relationship goals, health and body, career, education, recreation, financial, and contribution goals. And so it has you break down and kind of see what each of those sections wants you, like what you want in each one of those sections of your life. So go through that. It starts on page 59 and it goes all the way until page 76. So do those journal prompts, and then we'll come back for quote number 4. Oh, also, it's going to have you write out your 101 goals list of, it's like a bucket list of 101 things that you want to do in your life. So also do that too before we move on to the next quote, because the next quote is on page 88, which is after that section of the workbook. Now, some of these goals, I'm just going to say, are like pretty fun since we're here right now. Like I put ones down that are like very like career and life focused. Like I want to write a musical someday. So that's like very career focused. And then I have ones in here that like I don't like, it would just be really fun. Like I would just love to do it. And there's not really like a reason behind it besides the fact that I just want to do it. Like go to all 7 natural wonders of the world. Like all the 7 natural wonders of the world. Like I want to see all those. Go to all 7 ancient wonders of the world. Like they're just things that I think would be fun. So they're not like super like my life's purpose driven, but just things that would really light me up and like that feel fun for me to experience in this lifetime. So yeah, your 101 goals don't have to be super like career focused. They can just be something fun that you want to do. Like another one of mine is sing in front of a crowd. I do not know how to sing, but I've always wanted to learn how. And one of my goals before I die is to sing in front of a crowd. Could be a crowd of 3 people, but just sing in front of a crowd. So it can be small, it can be big. Just have fun with your bucket list. Our last quote, like I said, is on page 88. So right before chapter 9. And it says, "You don't need to know every single step that it will take to achieve your goals." And this just kind of mimics what we've already been talking about. You do not need to know how the food is made. You do not need to know how the sausage is made. They always say that, and this applies with the universe as well. You don't need to know how the universe is going to get you to your dreams and desires. And trust me, it really will seem like some steps may not make any sense at all, but they'll feel aligned, but they might not make any sense. But you're like, okay, this feels aligned. I'm going to do this thing. And it'll turn out to be exactly what you needed to help you get to your goal, even though you had no idea that those 2 things would connect. So with this, focus your energy on what it is you desire and just pick a few goals to start. Like you just wrote out a bunch of your goals, a bunch of things that light you up. Like pick maybe from your 101 bucket list, like pick 1 or 2 things from that 101 bucket list. If you don't even know where to start, pick 1 or 2 of those things from the 101 things you wrote down and just start putting your energy there. Focus your energy on one of those 2 desires or 2 of those desires. And then just know it's already on its way. Practice letting go, taking only the next best step, and then knowing and trusting the universe is going to provide it for you. That's not saying that not to plan or to take action. You're still taking, like I said, that next best step. But just like we learned in previous chapters, take action when the universe presents the situation for action to be taken. And make sure it is aligned action, the action that you are taking. So it's not just like, okay, I know what I want. I know what I desire. I'm going to completely surrender and not take care of it anymore. Oh, this opportunity just came up to me. I don't need to do that because I know the universe is bringing me what I want. Okay, well, that opportunity was what the universe was trying to be like, hey, if you take this is what's going to bring you what you want. But now you didn't take it. So I have to rearrange how I'm going to get it to you now. So really just take that next best step. Like look and see where the universe is providing that opportunity for you. Getting rid of the stress, keeping the trust that it's going to be given to you from the universe, but still taking aligned action when you see that you need to take it. It is a give and a take. It's a flow. So how I've seen this happen in my life is I am still working on making my goals happen. I have not reached a lot of them, but I have reached more than I thought I was going to. But I also do see the doors that are opening before me, that are opportunities from the universe. And every time I see a door, I walk through it. I am just practicing walking through doors, and as my stepdad says, flipping over stones. We just flip over rocks until we find we find something. And so I just keep flipping over rocks, keep following what the universe has planned out for me. That's how I've been practicing it in my life. So tips to help you do this in your life is just focus on one small thing to start, like one small goal that maybe you want. And maybe where you're at is still finding what makes you happy, what actually makes you happy. Continue doing that if you're feeling like you're still struggling with finding out where your happiness lies. Also, just pick one thing that's going to help you align your energy with the energy you're going to have when you have your desire. So Pick a song, pick a mantra, pick a visual, like a picture, like pick something that's going to help you get into the energy that you're going to be in when you have your desires. That's another tip on how to help you keep that energy flowing to help you take aligned action. I'm going to be honest, following your dreams and your desires, this path, if you're choosing to take this path, it takes courage. It takes bravery and trust. It's not just trust in the universe, but also trust in yourself that you can do it. It's really hard. It's not super easy, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And just to keep encouraging you, I do want to read the Walt Disney quote that is at the very end of the chapter. Walt Disney says, "All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them." So like I said, it does take courage to pursue and follow your dreams, but you can do it. I know you can. If I can, then you guys definitely can. So let's do it together. And that's why my channel is called Dream Life Jewels, because it's not just about me living my dream life. It's about all of you finding your dream life as well. So what did we do today? We dove into the workbook section of the book today. There was a lot of pages. It was a huge chunk of the book, but now you know what your soul truly desires and what it means to actually live your life on purpose. We talked about why your dreams don't need to be for anyone else's approval, just yourself, and how to surrender to the universe without losing momentum. And why you don't need to know every step, you only need to know the next one, the next best step. Let's get on to our journal prompts. So we'll have our journal prompts and our soul study challenge, of course. We're still going to have 3 journal prompts this week. So journal prompt number 1. Think about the last week. When did you feel the most energized and alive? What were you doing? And was it something you chose intentionally, or did it just happen? What was one thing you could do this week with more intention that usually feels like just going through the motions? Journal prompt number 2. If no one in your life could say no, no judgment, no doubt, no outside opinion, what would you be doing? Write freely, don't filter yourself. Then look at what you wrote and ask, what is the fear underneath it? What does that fear tell you about how much you actually care about this dream? Journal prompt number 3. Think about a door that feels open right now, an opportunity, an invitation, a nudge you keep getting. Have you been hesitating to walk through the door? What would it look like to just take one small aligned step towards it this week without needing to go where it fully leads? And it's okay if you cannot think of answers to these questions. Just even getting your mind to start thinking about them is already putting you in alignment. So let's move on to our soul study wheel spin. All right, our soul study wheel spin. Let's see our challenge of the week. And this week, our soul study challenge is Victor Mindset. So what does that mean? Let me tell you. Victor Mindset for the Soul Study Challenge means look at everything that happens this week as being something you manifested. Reflect on it. So we're really seeing if you can take accountability for the things that are being called into your life this week. And what were those things? If they were bad things, take a look and see maybe how did you call those bad things into your life? If they were great things, what are you doing that called those great things into your life? Everything that happens to you this week, take a second to really think about how did you manifest that into your life. So that is the challenge for this week. And that is it for this week's episode. So thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. If you want to follow the Soul Study podcast, be sure to follow it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and if you want the video podcast, you'll find that on YouTube. You can also follow me on Instagram and on YouTube at Dream Life Jewels. So I hope to connect with all of you guys there. If you have any questions for me, feel free to DM me. I would love to talk more about this subject with you guys. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening in. Take what resonates, leave the rest, and I hope you have an amazing week becoming your happiest, healthiest, most magnetic selves. And until next time, bye.